What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Blue River Bow Hunting Podcast, episode 63. I'm Brett Morse, your host. Got your favorite co-host in here again this week with a.k.a. the neighbor, Adam Bonowitz. But I got a pretty cool episode lined up this week with a buddy that I grew up playing football with and stuff in middle school and high school, and kind of cool to reconnect after being away from each other for so many years, even though back then in middle school and football we talked about deer hunting back then. But I got Tyler Comstock on here with me this week. What's going on, dude?
Hey, Brett. Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me.
No, that's cool, man. I can remember, I think I told you on Facebook Messenger when we were talking, I can remember a bus ride home. I think we played like Franklin or something, and we were driving down 44 on the way back into Shelbyville, and I was looking out the window down the fence lines and stuff. You're like, you looking for deer? Yeah, I'm looking for deer. I just kind of connected on that level because I think you were back there in the back doing the same thing.
Yeah, it's kind of funny how you don't realize throughout the day, I mean, even back then and even now, it's not always apparent who is or who isn't into the deer hunting. So to see you doing that, and it kind of popped up because I do the same thing. Sad to say, I still do it when I drive.
Me too. I do.
Looking out there, and my wife's scaring her to death. But you're always peeking out there, and it's funny that she always makes fun of me. I can see a deer way out there, but I ask her for something in the refrigerator, it's right in front of me, and I can't see it.
Hey, you know what's crazy is how much football meant to us when we were playing. I bet you couldn't tell me the score of that game, but you remember you two talking about looking at deer on the way home in the bus.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I could probably get into detail on some of it, but I mean, not a particular game.
Yeah. It was pretty fun, and I don't know if I even figured you to be a hunter at the time.
I know I was a pretty big athlete back then.
Little scrawny little kid. I think
he's been stung by bees since then.
I can't say too much either.
I just found this, so this is my problem.
Yeah, 3 kids, office job. I mean, it's life, man. Life hits you.
Right,
absolutely,
for sure. So, for somebody that doesn't know you, Tyler, introduce yourself a little bit.
Yeah, so I'm from Shelby County, back Brett's homeland. Born and raised. I would say really I've been here most of my life, aside from my 4 years at Purdue. I'm a civil engineer. Yep. I'm a civil engineer. After that, I lived in Pendleton for a few years, worked kind of up in the Marion, Muncie area. Unfortunately, living in an apartment right out of school, didn't do too much hunting. I did growing up, though, a lot with my family, my dad and my brother. But, of course, during college and shortly after, when you're poor after college, too much. But my wife and I decided we wanted to start a family. And, of course, kids on the way, we wanted to get back home. So we moved back to Shelbyville and close to family to help with the kids and everything. And kind of getting back into it. And, so glad we made the move back.
Nice.
That's awesome. Yeah, I knew Adam would say something when you said Purdue. He's a big Purdue fan.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, so is your property that you hunt do you have multiple properties? Where are you hunt mostly Shelbyville?
So actually we currently hunt the southwest corner of Shelby County.
Okay.
It's private land. It's a buddy that my dad used to work with. We've gotten to know their family very well.
Nice.
They farm it. They have a farm, most ag fields, and actually it only has 5 acres of woods. And then probably
that's hunting the state of Indiana.
Yeah. So, but you wouldn't believe some of the monsters you see through there. Unfortunately, given that where it's located, it's more of a corridor. They don't really live there that much. But hey, we can't be too picky. We're fortunate enough to find a family, and they enjoy having us out there, and we got the freedom to basically do whatever we want, food-wise.
And it's tough to find a place, so you really can't complain.
It is. So we don't complain at all. We're blessed, and I mean those people are like family to us, and we do things for them since they allow us to hunt. Actually, his youngest son built a house, and me with my engineering background, I did his plot plan, designed his septic and everything for him.
Well, that's pretty cool.
I said, hey, just thanks for letting us hunt, man. This is my gift to you because you guys let us do that.
You know, that means a lot to them, but they don't understand what it means to you to be able to do that, and have your kids be able to go out there and do what they do.
Yep. So we are very blessed. Really, we, given our age and with my kids and everything, we haven't been looking too much into other places at this time. We can't complain. We're 15 minutes from my house. I can pull out of the drive and I'm in park and I'm in the stand within 30 minutes. So
nice.
I can't complain.
It takes Brett that long to put a camera up, so that's pretty good.
Exactly. What's nice about that is whenever we want to go out and do something, whether like this past weekend, we just want to go out and weed eat and get food plot ready and things like that, or just go out and play around with the kids. It's nothing to do that. It's not like we're traveling hours. So.
Nice.
We're very fortunate.
Have you thought about hunting public or putting in for draw hunts or anything like that within the state?
Yeah, so it's funny you say that. Going back to high school, the first time I ever hunted public was my dad got me out of high school. I think it was either junior or senior year. He pulled me out of class for I think a day or two, and me, him, and a buddy, we got drawn for Versailles hunt. And I actually got a decent little buck there. It was fun. Wasn't expecting it. It was something else. My first public land hunt. First time experiencing that. It was a little different, but definitely better than school, right?
Absolutely.
But since then, actually, I have a buddy at work that we've been talking about dreams of trying to do some public land hunting, and actually him and we kind of go back and forth, and I've been sharing your podcast with him because he actually grew up in Indiana. He moved out to Montana, Bozeman, Montana, for quite a few years doing construction, and he was a guide, so he has a lot of the guide and the public land kind of feel with it. So when he moved back to Indiana, him and I have been talking about maybe trying to go down to Hoosier National. We've done some hiking down there. I forget what it is, the Dean Wilderness or something like that. We've done some hiking through there with the kids. And we've been talking about maybe trying that one year, go down and do some public land hunting.
Yeah, we did. We hosted a public land deer camp in Hoosier National last year, which was really cool. We had guys from Texas and Ohio and everything come over and hunt with us, and I didn't realize, I guess, just because I didn't grow up in that part of the state and I really wasn't much of a public land hunter until the last couple of years, but I didn't realize how big the Hoosier National really is.
Yeah, that's something that surprised me. I've always heard of the Hoosier National, and I mean, here I am an hour and a half from it, being from Shelby County, and he goes, "Hey man, let's take the kids down." This was, I think, last summer. He said, "Let's take the kids down and go hiking, things like that." And I'm thinking, of course, oh boy, this is going to be kind of busy. And we were there for 3 or 4 hours, and we didn't see a single person where we were hiking. Because he had some places that we were getting into some draws and some ridges, and we found a little creek, shallow creek, for the kids to play in. And yeah, we didn't see anybody for hours, and it was nice. And
that's awesome.
We were talking about maybe trying to find some spots to hunt.
I mean, I hunted there for 3 days, and I didn't see a single person when I was hunting. I mean, I saw some sign of maybe some people, and one day I may have hunted too close to a walking trail and seen some people on the hiking trail, but I was new to the area. But man, just the vastness of what you can get into. Like our buddy that went with us, Waldo, that I work with, he killed his buck like almost 2 miles or 3 miles from the truck, and none of us had a deer cart. Talk about lesson learned quick.
Oh yeah, but we got lucky in that we had a guy that quartered it up for us, but I was the odd man out and didn't have to carry none of it back. It worked out perfect.
Yeah, that going from private to public, that'd definitely be something that's a little different, because I mean, I'm kind of spoiled on the private. We shoot a deer, we just drag it to the nearest field, drive the truck back there,
to it,
do everything that, and then we take it home and process it. Whereas public land, I mean, you can be miles in there. Like I tell you, ordering it.
Yeah, I mean, that's what they have. Well, the first hill we went down, I said, I'm not dragging this thing out of here. But I tell you, there's places there that you can get to, and you can hunt, and it would feel like it's your own property.
Yeah.
It's been, it's probably changed a lot since then, but it's been 12, 13 years ago that I went down to Missouri and was hunting on state property there, and I had a father-son walk up to me and asked, "What am I doing here?" And I was like, "Well, I'm just hunting state property." And he's like, "Oh, I'm just giving you crap, man. Me and my boys been hunting this for 4 or 5 years." I forget what he said. But it was some years. And he said, "We've never ran into anybody, so it's throwing us off." And I was like, "Holy smokes!" So there is some places out there that you can find on state property that if you find the spot, it'll feel like it's your own because you won't run into people.
Yeah.
But not in central Indiana. You'll have to go down there to those big sections.
Yeah, get back deep in there, away from the roadways where people don't want to venture, and get less pressure on them deer back there.
For sure. Yep. So tell us how you got started in hunting in the outdoors. Did you start with whitetails, or was it like a small game first type of thing?
Yeah, so just growing up, my dad was hunting. We've always lived in the country. I say country, but it's a couple miles south of Shelbyville there, right there at the high school, and always been an outdoors kind of family.
I'm going to have to come visit so I can stop by the casino.
Did a lot of deer hunting mainly. We did some rabbit hunting early on whenever we could find some locations of my dad's buddies that had some fence rows and things like that. We had a couple beagles that we tried out. I mean, they weren't really bird dogs, but we just tried them out. Just whatever we could do to get out. And like I said, my dad was mainly into the deer hunting, mostly gun. I don't think early on he really ventured into the bow hunting as much. But all through school, hunted with them. My brother, he's a couple years younger than me, and we all went hunting and as a family. And unfortunately, as we went to Purdue, kind of took some time off. Busy up there studying, a lot of work and things like that.
I'm just glad Purdue did good for you, man.
Oh yeah. So got that engineering degree, working, and come back home and got back into hunting.
So someone getting back into hunting.
Yeah.
What's some goals that you set for yourself this season?
Yeah. So one thing is I look at myself similar to my dad, and I want to keep my kids and everything involved. And it might not be to shoot the biggest ones or a lot, but to get them out there. That's my biggest thing, is get them out there, have them involved, have them have fun. It's fun taking them out in the woods and things, and they said, "Oh, we're hunting," even though we're out there just messing around. Right. Keeping them involved, keeping them active and wanting to go out there. I don't want to push them out there and push them away. That's my main goal. And really us as a family, yes, it'd be awesome to have what you guys have back here on your walls versus
he makes fun of my wall. You should see his.
But,
his is cute little fellers.
Yeah, we're mainly just meat hunters.
Awesome, man. So that's good stuff, man. We've never had somebody on this podcast that's just a meat hunter. Yeah, so this opens the door.
It's for us, we look at it as basically an alternative to beef. I mean, look at the beef prices and everything. And
for sure.
What we do is we mainly hunt for meat, but, if one of the big ones come in, we'll shoot them. We have no problem doing that. Now, I'm a little more picky, especially after seeing some of the stuff that's on the trail cams. Trail cams are a blessing and it's a curse because you see those and you're thinking, they're going to be out there, but they're not always out there.
I really contemplated on not putting trail cameras out this year just so I can sit in the woods and be excited and not know what's in there. Because last year I didn't have a shooter.
It worked for me last year.
I didn't have a shooter on camera last year, so it was even hard to get motivated to go. Yeah. So I'm like, well, if I don't put them out there and don't know what's out there, it makes me think there could be a big one at any time.
Yeah, you're right. I love the trail cams for multiple reasons. I like to see the big ones, but I have my little YouTube page, and it's really just for sharing with family. That's the only reason I have it. I don't really self-film or anything. Not like you guys. I mean, you guys do a really good job, and mine's mainly just for sharing memories and saving memories. But I love watching the little ones come up to my mock scrapes and my vines and everything just as much. Watching them dance around that little mock scrape. I like that just as much as seeing the big one come in.
And I tell you what, that's fun to video those because those are the dumb ones. You can get away with a lot when they're doing all that stuff. So it makes it, you can definitely get away with some noise, movement, and stuff.
Yeah.
I actually had, I think it was last year, I had my middle boy with me, and we had a doe come up, and she hit our ground scent and followed it like a bloodhound straight to our stand, looked up at us, and I was told him, don't move. We wasn't gonna shoot a doe that day, and then she just stared and stared and stared, and finally he just burst out laughing and goes, "That is one dumb deer," and it ran about 20 yards. Then stood there and looked at us the whole entire time, and he's laughing loud as could be, and she's still like, "What the hell's happening?" and just looking at us, and I was like, man.
And most people, sorry, go ahead, buddy.
No, you go ahead.
Most people listening would think what he just said, we're not going to shoot a doe today. It's not because we're out there trophy hunting.
Yeah.
It's because of the particular property that he's talking about was hit huge. This whole area where we live was hit huge with EHD. So the population went with, he may see 10 does a day to now he may be lucky to see 2.
Yeah, it's. I mean, even my trail cams are telling me there ain't that many there anymore.
Yeah.
So it's tough.
I worry about that. I have a cousin that hunts down in, I believe he's down in Franklin County.
Yeah.
And he's got some land down there, and he's got some big boys and things like that. And he came back and said, man, they've been kind of wiped out through there. And I hate to hear that, and I just pray that it kind of stays away. I mean, I think it's just a matter of time, unfortunately, but hopefully things are.
And I think I talked about it last episode or the episode before, but Franklin County and Fayette County are also 0 bonusless now, so you can't shoot a doe, right? Is that how that plays out?
Yeah, you cannot shoot a doe in those counties. There's 0 doe counties. You can still take a buck, but it's on.
Well, I think there's properties within that county, like when they do the Whitewater State Park hunt, they may, because it said on the email that I was reading that they were predicting so many does to be taken from that county, but I think it's just particular state park hunts or something. It had to be because you can't just go in Franklin County or Fayette County and shoot a doe.
No, you can't get in any of those counties and shoot a doe.
Yeah, I don't know what it was talking about then.
Yeah, it's already been on the website.
So say you get drawed for Whitewater State Park hunt, you can't shoot a doe?
I'd say absolutely not.
I'm with you. I mean, as much as it's suffered, their turkey population ain't suffered, has it?
No. Well, it did during season.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I just being a meat eater, man. That I pray that doesn't come my way, because I mean, really, for us, for the freezer, the does, man, those are where it's at.
Oh,
Some of them does rather than some of those big boys. I mean, the big boys look great and everything. That's awesome to have all those poundage, but those does is awfully good. So.
I'll tell you something though, a life lesson was I used to be the same way. It wasn't nothing for me to kill 3 or 4 does on my property for years. Then it took a little bit of time, about 5 years of doing that. I'm like, man, I used to see all kinds of deer. Well, I wonder why I didn't. I mean, you kill one doe, you're killing 2 the next year, you know. Yeah. So I definitely put a hurting on it. So, I mean, if your place is loaded, you can take a few, but I'd just be gentle on how many you take out of there, because it will, especially with the kids growing up, you want to have a hunt every time where the kids can see deer, you know.
Yep.
So the private or the state property, that's where you just put the hammer down on anything that moves.
Right. Yeah, we're pretty choosy of what comes through and what we shoot or not shoot, because I always tell people, and it's always funny, especially going back to a story I shared with you guys about my brother-in-law when he shot his first deer. Like, when you shoot it, that's when the work starts. Get the deer on the ground, and then there's a lot of work that goes into it. And it makes you appreciate everything that you put into it and the animal itself. So.
Right. When you talk to other people about deer hunting, has anybody ever given you any kind of flack or anything when it comes to just being kind of the meat hunter type of situation?
No, I don't think so. I think, I mean, really, like, kind of going back to the very beginning, we have private property. It's only 5 acres of woods. We can't be too picky and choosy. Mm-hmm. They're not living there, unfortunately. The big boys, they're coming through. We have quite a few that come through and bed down around us. Mm-hmm. It's just a little bit. It's a matter of luck, but no, I'd say for the most part, everybody's pretty open to it, and I think a lot of the people that I know, like my buddy from work and things like that, they're just as much into the eating it as it is the sport itself as well.
Oh, absolutely. I didn't know sometimes you get that guy. Like I interact with people at work sometimes when it comes to hunting, and I tell them, we got a YouTube and a podcast. Oh, you're trying to make money? No, that's not what we're trying to do. We're just being ourselves, but we just happen to be filming it at the same time.
Yeah. It's so kind of discussing the filming part. I have a camcorder that's with me. I have some Tacticams that I put on my gun or my bow and things like that, and really it's awesome to have it on there to share. I know I'm not getting big boys, but hey, you know what? If it happens to be a boy, it's awesome. If it's a doe, it's awesome. If it's a little 6-point, it's awesome.
Yep.
It's all about the memories for me. I'm trying to record
Absolutely.
those memories.
That was the next word to come out of his mouth.
And that's what I was getting at is our first buck kill on camera was this year, or last season actually now. And it was cool to, you can show a picture of a deer that you killed, show somebody. They're like, oh, that's awesome. But when you can show them a video of it, man, they really watch it. They get into it. They think it's cool as could be. So it tells the story way better than we can tell it because it goes so fast and we don't really remember what happens.
Yeah, and it's funny because my wife always makes fun of me. I watch the same movies over and over.
She'd get along with my wife.
Why the hell do you do that? And you're gonna laugh at me, but one of my favorites is Dumb and Dumber.
Nice.
Game on.
Very similar to watching my films of my hunts and things like that. Is every time I watch it, I notice something different about it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that buck did this that I didn't notice before, or things like that. Because when you're in the moment and you're super focused, you're hyper focused, you kind of see different things and you don't realize sometimes the bigger picture. And watching it a few different times, you notice different things.
Yep.
And you get to relive those memories. Now, I will say one thing that I worry, given that I try to do it all myself. Now, it's nice if I have my dad there; he'll help me out, or my brother-in-law, or hopefully in the future my sons. But one thing about the self-filming that I think kind of takes away from it is I want to be present in the moment. I always tell my kids, like we were saying about the kids, being on iPads or something at dinner, or phones or what have you, watching TV. I always tell them, and I say, try to be where your feet are. Like, be present, guys. And sometimes when I'm doing my self-hunt, I'm so worried about some of that gear and everything that it's kind of like, hey, take a moment and just enjoy the moment.
Enjoy it.
Enjoy it. Like, I don't know if you guys watch any sports right now, but here lately there's these pictures going out of these famous athletes, and there's big-time moments, and everybody has their cell phone.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
And I think it was Phil Knight, the owner of Nike, the founder of Nike. He's just sitting there like this. Look.
It was when LeBron broke the scoring record, I think.
Yeah.
I think there was one that happened just this past week with soccer. I think it was
Messi.
Messi. I think there was one about him and just sitting back there. Don't have that phone out. Just being in the moment. So I love both sides of it. It's recording the memories, but then at the same time, it's a little tough. And it is a challenge. It adds a whole other challenge to hunting itself.
Oh, yeah.
For sure. I think people don't understand that. I think I've said it on here probably a million times. People don't understand that how much harder that is to definitely self-film, but just getting it on film and being flawless or getting it without really making it look crappy, it's a huge challenge.
And getting away with two fat guys in a tree,
Yeah, it's very tough. I mean, you guys, I think I've seen your setup in a couple different videos, but you guys.
That's one thing we need to do.
What's that?
That's one thing we need to do is take some videos of our setups and stuff and show some people how we set stuff up.
I think I've seen some of your cameras and things, and I mean, like, man, you guys got some big stuff, and here I have this little Sony handy cam.
And that's what I started with.
Actually, he started with when he bought his big camera. I took the little one with him, and I could have videoed some crazy stuff, but I videoed my boys passing up. My oldest boy, I think he was 12 or 13 at the time, but I videoed him passing 4 bucks up on one hunt. And I'm like, I tried talking him into shooting every one of them because I'm like, I got a little camera. He wouldn't pull the trigger.
So, but it's fun, and like we were saying, it adds a challenge in the hunting. It makes it fun.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, for sure. So what's I haven't asked this question in a while, actually, and he brought it to my attention before we hit record, but what's a family tradition that you guys do every year during deer season?
I'm trying to think of one. I would say one that we have, which I think it might be pretty common, is we're pretty fortunate in that my dad was really skilled, and he took the back half of his barn. He turned it basically into a shop / processing.
Nice.
I need to share the video of it, but
he ain't too far from us.
Yeah, he put a big winch up in the top and put a hook he mounted into the ground that helps us kind of pull the skin and everything off. But we process everything ourselves right there in the back of the barn there.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah, we're very fortunate.
That's an art that's kind of went away.
Yeah, it adds a lot of work, but it's very worth it. But the tradition we have that it's just kind of me, my dad, and my brother is we always weigh the deer, of course, and then we have a little record book we have, and
that's cool.
Is a little. I think it started out as like a little notepad, and we always name the deer. So.
Oh yeah.
I know this sounds dumb, but
I'm into it. Like, this is cool.
Well, some of the deer, I mean, we just come up with different things. So, for instance, last year, this is silly.
Kathy went down.
I killed my buck the day that Gallagher died.
Nice.
Comedian Gallagher. So I named the Gallagher buck.
Nice.
Awesome.
A few years before that, Veterans Day buck, which Veterans Day, a lot of them happen on that one.
Yep.
To share a quick little story with you, and I'll tell you about the name of it, but I shot this one doe one time, and it was a through and through, right through both of her front shoulders. And I give it to these deer and these animals, man. They can go through a lot. And this doe, she was about 100, 125 yards away, but she was scooting. And we thought she was done. My dad and I were sitting there watching her. And no joke, she hopped on her hind legs and started hopping.
What the crap?
So I don't mean to be gruesome or anything or take away from the animal, but so we named that one the kangaroo doe. That was literally what she looked like. She was hopping like a kangaroo. So,
oh my gosh.
Yeah, as soon as we saw that, we for the first like 2 seconds we freaked out, and then we put another slug in her, and it was done. So, but that was just the weirdest thing we've ever seen.
Oh yeah.
So it's just those little things that trigger those memories.
Yeah. What's the heaviest doe you guys have ever killed?
What's that?
What's the heaviest doe you guys have killed?
My brother had one. I think he called it like Mama Doe or something like that. I want to say it was 210.
Holy smokes!
I think it was huge. It was huge. I think.
Wow.
She was huge.
Huh.
But yeah, he killed her, and that's the biggest doe we've had, and the biggest. Buck is, but
yeah.
I got a buck right now. I call 50 Cent because I got a spy point, and it's got like a battery pack that you pull out and you put all the double A's in there. Well, for some reason, like the contacts on the thing don't work. So he stuck a quarter in the bottom of it, and it still didn't work. So I put another quarter in the bottom of it, and it worked. So now I've been calling that 10-pointer. I got 50 Cent.
That was like the first deer you got on that camera,
too.
It's that kind of stuff that the memories that you make. It's not always the hunt. It's not always the kill, things like that. It's the little stupid shit that you remember.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yep.
So I've asked, actually this I would say before the season's coming in, I've been having a lot of people from Indiana on, and I've always been asking all of them, what's your thought process or your thoughts on the increase in our tag prices here in Indiana?
Well, I don't want to get political. But I look at it as if the money is going to wildlife and things like that, I'm perfectly fine.
I agree with you.
To a point. Again, I don't want to try to get political, but I think back when they were talking about that gas tax they raised, I think if it goes to roads and infrastructure, people don't mind that. But it's when people start dipping their hands into the funds that are meant for things that we care about, the people spending it, that's where I think it starts to be a problem.
Yeah, and I've noticed too in the last couple of years they've brought on more DNR than I think they've ever had. Man, some of it used to be. I remember days when it was one per like 4 counties.
Yeah,
and it was tough. So we're getting more and more of them out there, and Lord knows we need them.
Yeah, it does stink. I mean, I hope that the price. What is the price now? Like $91 for the bundle.
So for the bundle, I think with taxes, I paid like $94 or something.
Yeah, it's $91 and $3 if you buy it online, so they process it for you.
Yeah. I look at it as that's kind of my yearly donation in a way.
Yeah.
Right.
I know some people. I think my brother. I think his father-in-law. He's an outdoorsman. He loves to like bird hunt, things like that. But he's fortunate enough that he actually goes through and pays for all the stamps, every license, everything, and that's his way of donating.
Yeah.
That's cool.
I think that's a cool way of doing that. And so I kind of look at my license fee as long as it doesn't get out of hand.
Yeah.
It does stink. I hope that's not stopping people from going out and hunting. That's my biggest fear, is hopefully it doesn't stop that kid or that family from going out and trying the hunting.
Right.
One of my concerns that I hope that they're looking into now and not 20 years from down the road is all this state property. How, I mean, you watching fields, fence rows after fence rows getting yanked out.
Yeah.
I mean, the woods are getting flattened for fields. I mean,
Yeah.
farmers, hey, go get your money. I understand,
Right.
but I think that they need to look into buying more state property in the state of Indiana,
Yeah.
because it's getting scary of how much woods are getting wiped out around here. To be honest, I mean, look at all the new housing additions going up everywhere.
That's the worst part.
Yeah.
And they're taking out everything to do it. So, I mean, heck, I remember being down in Pendleton, and Pendleton used to have some of the best places to hunt. I've seen some giants driving down through there. Hell, now it's hard to find a woods down there.
Yeah, I will say the line of work I'm in, I'm a civil engineer. I do civil site design, which you were talking about housing additions. We do a lot of housing additions and
Yeah.
all industrial warehouse buildings, and it is tough sometimes to sit there and go through plans, and I'm doing the demo plan of acres and acres of woods, and it does my outdoorsman heart just kind of breaks.
Oh, absolutely, because you know that place is perfect.
Yeah, some of the best ones, actually. So one of the projects we worked on here in the last few years was right off of Whiteland, where Amazon and everything is, right off of 65.
Yep.
And there was an orchard and things like that in there. And the guy from the construction company, he was an outdoorsman too. He deer hunted and everything. And, he told me, he goes, man, you wouldn't believe the deer that's in that orchard. And I kept begging him. I said, hey, let me in there before you guys clear it. Let me hunting, him and I.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, yeah, I got a buddy that actually has a trail cam. I'm not mentioning names because I don't know if he's allowed to. But he has a trail cam up on his job site right now, and he's got 2 shooters on it, and they're clearing it out for put apartments in it. And he's like, I mean, it's next to his truck at night, like where he parks. These deer are walking because they've taken out everything around there. They don't have much places to go.
Yeah, it's sad to see it, and it's funny that, I mean, the deer adapt. They find those little places. My office is actually right off of 465, just north of 465, off of like Keystone at the north side. And
I'm sorry.
yeah, I get to work at 6 a.m. so I can miss all that traffic.
Yeah.
Leave and come home early, and
Nice.
we're right there on a river. And some of the biggest bucks. Again, my buddy from work, he goes walking in there every now and then, and he took a picture of it and sent it to me. He said, Tyler, this is one of the biggest bucks I've ever seen. It's right there off the river, right outside of our office building. And it's funny, I took one of my trail cams and put it out there just thinking, oh, again, I like to just watch it. And,
Yeah.
we kind of got a little bit of a nasty note put on it about removing my camera. I mean, I think maybe they thought it was somebody outside or maybe someone trying to hunt it, when really it was just him and I just trying to see what's out there, see that buck and everything. Because, like I said, I like looking at them and watching them just as much as I like hunting them.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, Eli Lilly's has like a park there on the south side of Raymond, right across from where I'm working at a lot, and you see them. They almost walk up to you on the like frisbee golf course or whatever. And there was one in there last year. I bet he was a 150, and he just stood there and opened it every morning. I watched that deer. Yeah. I'm like, just let me in there for 20 minutes.
Yeah. And you know what? He knows you can't get him. So
for sure.
Hey, Brett, how are you doing? I swear they know.
Oh, they do. It's crazy. Yep. That's like the Seek One guys. I don't know if you've had a chance to watch them, but Seek One's a big YouTuber. They started out in Georgia, I think it is.
Atlanta.
Oh yeah, and they killed giants. But like it's one of them. Like his got a ground blind that's touching the fence of the house. I mean, it's 10 feet from the house, and they're shooting them.
Yeah.
And it's like 200-inch deer, and I'm like, holy cow.
Yeah, there's some pretty nice urban zones up and around Indy. I hear of some big deer off of like Allisonville up near Conner Prairie and things like that.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah. So I've seen them. It's It's crazy.
My wife actually found a shed down there.
Yeah.
I just thought of that. Yeah, over
Geist.
by the Geist. Yeah, right there by the Geist Reservoir. She's seen a shed from driving down the road, and it's I don't know what it's for, but it may be 150, maybe more. But yeah, she's seen it driving down the road. And I'm like, I hike hours.
It almost makes you sick because there are areas that like you just can't do anything about it. But
Yep.
Man, it's cool to see that they're still thriving.
Yeah.
Even with all this development and everything going, they're still making it and learning to adapt and finding those areas. And I think people care more than what it kind of seems.
Well, I did see. So I do the survey every year that they send when you buy your license. I did that. I did see that they brought back on there if something about a lifetime license.
Bring it back.
That's awesome.
That it was back on there.
I'm glad you actually said that because my dad, luckily enough, he was able to purchase it. Whenever the last chance was, and he just thinks about, man, I wish I would have gotten your boys.
Yeah.
And bought it for you guys, but.
Yep.
He might have been maybe even 10, if that, at the time. He just wishes because he knows how much it would have paid off. So I definitely think that'd be something that could be a pretty good investment.
I think at the time, I mean, last I remember there was $500 or $600.
Well, the last time they were like $1,800, I think. The
last time they were out, but I remember when they were $600, $800. So that is basically 8 deer seasons now.
Yeah. And if I remember right, because I think I took the same survey as you, I think they even kind of wanted to test the waters a little bit. I think they were kind of saying, would you pay this much?
Yeah, they definitely did. Yep, it was on there.
There's the limit. So,
and they also kind of tested, obviously we're getting a lot of attention, like you've mentioned to me before, after the Huff Buck and everything, opening up a Velvet a weekend or,
did.
I know they have the urban zone opens like September 15th or whatever, but like kind of like a Tennessee situation where you have like 2 or 3 days or a long weekend for velvet deer. They kind of touched on it, but they never did anything about it.
No, but I'm betting it's still in the works because we're surrounded by every state that does do it. True. Kentucky does it, Missouri does it, Ohio comes in
the last week of September.
So like they all open in September. So Indiana's like the only state that really hasn't. I tell you what, though, my personal opinion, I don't want it to happen.
I don't want it to happen either.
I mean, if I didn't hunt out of state, yeah, I want it to happen. But I love going to like Kentucky. This year we plan on going to Kentucky and Missouri in September.
Almost back to back.
So I'm not missing anything here. So like that's what I like about ours not being in September.
Yeah.
But if I didn't have state, if we wouldn't go to state, hell yeah, I'd want it here. I want to try killing one of velvet.
Right, that would be pretty cool.
But those deer are so easy to pattern in an early season like that. I feel like our numbers would drop off a little bit, maybe as far as our Boone and Crockett or Pope and Young, all that stuff would probably go up.
Oh yeah, our numbers on some big ones would be going up for sure.
And I think, did I hear a gentleman on either your last podcast or the podcast before state that maybe Indiana was the number one?
So he sent me the link to it, and I ended up reading it. Wisconsin was still number one, but Indiana was a close second, which really surprised me.
For Booners?
Yeah,
I believe it was Boone and Crockett.
I think that's right. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
People are starting to figure out Indiana. It's one of the hidden gems that was right between everything, and like you mentioned, the Huff Buck is bringing a lot of publicity and things like that. I think I've heard rumors around Shelby County that there's been land where people are coming in from out of state and just handing basically a blank check and like, hey, we'll rent this.
Yep.
So they're coming in, and I hope that doesn't take away from residents. But I mean, at the same time, I couldn't turn down money if you were in that situation.
So I'll ask you kind of a topic I don't think I've really even asked anybody before, but would you consider, say that property that you had from your family friend, say someone passed away and they sold it or whatever, or something happened, would you consider leasing a place for you and your family? Or would it be just like, hey, I'm hitting boots to the ground, going to go knock on the door until I find another place to hunt?
I think it would be a consideration.
Yeah.
I think there's so many factors that come into play. Like right now, my kids are so young, so it might not be worth it.
Yeah.
But in the future, to get them out there and secure a place, it would be worth it. I think a good idea is going in with groups. I see groups of family that go in together and either purchase land or do land leases and things like that. I think that's pretty neat because one, you're securing that land, and two, you keep that group of guys together. That's one thing I love about a lot of the hunting shows, watching you guys, just watching the deer camp stuff.
Yeah.
That's just as fun as the hunting. So,
for sure.
To be able to secure that would be worth it in my opinion. Price and everything would have to, of course, be.
I tell you, my opinion is I'd have to really like the people I'm leasing off of.
Yeah,
I'd want them to become like family too, because if it's people just for money, man, every year it'll be a financial battle the next year, especially if you fall in love with it. Somebody else comes in and offers more. But if you build a relationship with that person that's leasing the land to you, man, they'll love you. They'll want to keep you there. If you take care of the place, you do everything they ask, they'll want to keep a good crew there.
Yeah, I think it does take a lot of trust, and like you said, it's not. It takes a relationship to maintain that, not just a business relationship.
Yep.
Like you said, there's always going to be someone that comes in and swoops in with more money.
Yep.
Well, like I know in like the base camp leasing, I believe, not to throw them under the bus by any means, but I believe after your first year, each year after that, your price goes up 2.5%. I believe is the number. I could be a little off on that number, which is not a whole lot. I mean, depending on how much that's true too.
Right. And unfortunately, it's one of those things. It's how much is it worth to you? Unfortunately, kind of. Here we were talking about $90 for a license.
Then you go up to $6,000 or $7,000 for 100 acres.
Yeah, all around, it's just like going to the grocery store. Everything there's expensive. So is hunting now. I mean, if you kill a big one to get it mounted, man, it's way expensive compared to how it used to be, because the mounts itself cost way more, so they have to charge more.
I seen a map. It showed the average shoulder mount in the United States for each state. And Indiana was $875.
Wow!
I was like, "Ho!"
I hope the people that do my taxidermy ain't watching this and raises his.
I actually lucked out on that one, and this kind of goes back to my family and everything like that. Is my great uncle, my mom's uncle. He lives southeast Shelby County, and he's actually a taxidermist. And
nice.
One of the, I guess you can kind of say, back to the family.
He's got a skinny shab.
Hey, what's the shop name, or what's his name?
It's just he does it out of his barn. He's an old.
I got you. I say
that's where I get mine done at.
What's that?
That's where I take mine, is over there.
What's that guy's name?
Mike Buck is his name.
Buck, yeah.
No, his name is Raymond.
Okay, it's not the same
Different
guy.
He's around the Waldron area.
But damn, you got a skin and shabby, you got a taxidermy. Tyler, me and you're about to become good friends.
He's older now, and actually, my book that I shared the picture with Brett for the kind of the cover photo is.
Yep.
I wanted to have him do one.
Yeah.
I haven't been lucky enough to have one worthy enough of getting it done, and he's getting up there in age. He might be in his 70s. I think he's pretty sure in his 70s now, so he's getting close to done. And so I wanted to definitely get him to do one. And one of the, like we were saying, the family traditions is near the end of the season, going there, just seeing everything.
Oh, yeah.
It's awesome seeing all the different bucks and everything.
Yeah.
And some of it's just the weird stuff he has. I mean, he has some things in there that he's had DNR in there a lot, actually.
Yeah, they're frequent visitors in those places for sure.
Yeah, and he's done some wild things. I think he said he's done a moose or an elk, which in Indiana you don't really see that. But
right.
Again, what's neat is my cousin on that side has kind of picked up that, and he's starting to get into the taxidermy now too. So it's kind of neat to see the family as a whole staying within the hunting community.
After I moved from Shelbyville to Nicetown, where I'm at now, I took a natural resources management class my senior year of high school, and that was actually part of the class that I took was taxidermy. So we went to a local shop. It was Iron Rack, I think, at the time, Aaron McCorkle, and we got to do a lot of that stuff. I had mounted a coon that I had shot from trapping a guy's barn. I helped him do a cow elk. It's a funny story. I don't think I've ever told this on there before, but he had like this barn in the back. He said, go through these double doors. There's 3 or 4 deep freezers. Go to the one in the middle. There's a couple largemouth in there that I want to pull out. He did his fish a little bit different than everybody else. And I'm trying to find this light, and I'm looking, and finally the light flips on behind me, and I hear the weirdest noise I've ever heard in my life. And I look over in the corner, and there is a female lion looking just piercing with her eyes looking at me. I'm like about to urinate in myself, you know what I mean? Put my hands up, and this female lion comes and puts her paws were
it was
that
a
big
real one.
around. I'm talking a huge African lion, and he's over there laughing at me. He flipped the light on, and he had a pet female lion, and it scared the holy shit out of me. But that was kind of cool getting to do the taxidermy stuff. That's some tough work for sure, and there's definitely an artwork behind it, which I would pay $8.75, but I would pay enough for it to look good because it's going to be on your wall for.
If it's big enough, I may pay a little more.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, like these two back here, those were $5.50, and I would pay $5.50 all day long.
Yeah. Well, if they're cheaper, I might go investigate it, but.
Fortunately, I got a little bit of the family discount. My brother actually, he originally started going to Purdue right out of high school for wildlife biology, and he was really into that stuff. And he actually helped mount his own deer that he did one year. So that was pretty neat to be.
That's cool. Yeah,
to be a part of that and to have that. I mean, because you're gonna have that forever. So.
For sure.
So one thing I noticed, Tyler, is. All these deer, you guys all have memories with them. I mean, it's from naming them in the skinning shack. I mean, to being on the wall, you guys have a family member that's doing the mounts on them. Your brother did his own mount. So, like, there's a lot tied to a lot of the deer you have. There's some stories and history behind them. So, it's pretty cool.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's fun. It's, I played sports during high school and things like that. But the family memories in the woods and things like that. And fortunately, my parents we were camping and things like that, fishing growing up. So
yeah.
I wouldn't trade it for anything. And that's what I try to raise my boys, kind of doing the same thing as well.
Nice.
For sure. So I'll get to try to go in depth on a couple of these questions I got for you. But as far as scouting your property, obviously you're running trail cams and that sort of thing. But how exactly are you scouting these places out to places that you're going to put a stand or a blind or something like that?
Yeah, a lot of it is just being there and seeing what they do. Mm-hmm. A lot of times we go in there. We try not to disturb it during the season. We use the Tacticam just so we can set them in there, get the cellular pictures straight to me so that I can not have to get in there. Because a lot of times I'm putting those cameras right on the trail, kind of those places, and they're sitting there for months and months so that they get used to it. And so I want to try to stay out there, but then at the same time, I like walking through some of those lanes and seeing all the rubs and scrapes. And those travel.
You know how hard it is to not get down on a stand early just to go check it out.
Yeah. And actually, a lot of it is just you have to put the time in, be out there, and watch them. You start picking up patterns. Oh, they kind of use this ridge, or they follow this little creek to this place across here. And sometimes it's not even where you imagine they'd be.
Yeah. No. So you've hunted your place for years, the same farm, right?
Yep.
I've done the same as well, where I've grew up hunting. I still hunt it. How often do you move your stands? Because you know where you've hunted them same places for years. Do you move them very often?
So we used to. Now I will caveat it, and I'm going to sound like a spoiled little kid, but we now I mainly hunt out of my shadow hunter blind.
Times are tough.
Yeah, I know. We were fortunate enough to get it for a really good price from a family friend, and like I said, I wanted something for the future for my kids when they're little.
Perfect.
Being there with me and things like that. But before all of that, we did mainly ladder stands, and we would move them almost every year.
Really? Okay.
Sometimes we'd set them. Hey, get it up in this tree within this open area. And honestly, I don't know if we ever had them in the same spot.
Wow.
One year. We would move them around that
You
much.
would adjust them, yeah.
Yeah.
Holy smokes. I just bought more and then left them then.
Yeah. And we were lucky enough. I think we had deer out of every single one of them every time we moved them. So
that's good.
Again, when we only have 5 acres of woods, so there's only so many places we can go.
Yeah.
It's just my dad and I. I'm in the shadow hunter blind on the edge of a big field, and then my dad. I had some connections through the engineering world that we took a big 60-inch culvert pipe, turned it up on end, and made a hunting blind out of it.
I was going to say, you're sticking your dad out in the open and you get the hut. What the hell's going on here? But no, you're taking care of him. All right.
Yeah, he has a heck of a blind, and he loves it.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Brett showed me a picture of it. That is pretty cool.
Yeah, so he's made a couple of them now. We put them up on a platform, and he's in there. And again, with 5 acres, it almost feels like we're sometimes sitting on top of each other.
Yeah.
But we make do with what we have. That's all we can.
Yeah.
So.
You've said a couple times it's just 5 acres, and I think you mentioned earlier you think it's more of a travel corridor compared to maybe being a bedding or something like that. What have you noticed over the years where it's like they flip a switch? It's like, I got to be there because I know they're going to be in this particular area at a particular time of the year.
Yeah, so we actually, mostly throughout the year, we only see does. We don't really see bucks that often, which, hey, I'll take does to bring those bucks in when the time's right. And so what we do a lot of times is just the weather. Cold fronts. We hunt the heck out of cold fronts, and the last 3-4 years we've killed our deer on cold fronts coming in.
Nice.
Because
you've learned something. And that's what, man, it's amazing how every year you pick up something new, and you've learned it.
I've tried it all. I had the Hunt Wise app, looking at the moon phases and all that stuff and all this, and you know what? I think it comes down to the weather mostly for us, the cold. They're gonna move when it's cold, and that's what we've really noticed is the cold. And unless during the main rut, this past year, I forget what day it was. I was up in that blind, and I think there was 50, 60 mile an hour winds. It was nuts, and that was the most movement I've ever seen. I never imagined it. It was raining, the wind was blowing. I was actually scared in my blind. I almost got down and hunted on the ground. There were so many deer running around. It was like just everywhere. Everywhere you look, they were just running every which direction. I was texting my dad, be ready, and then I was like, be ready for this way and be ready that way. So it was fun to experience that. And I didn't get anything that day, but just seeing that was awesome.
Oh yeah.
It must be a Shelby County thing because, 2020, Ryan killed that 156-inch 8-pointer, and it was hurricane force winds, and he killed it along the river. It'd be more like the northeast section of Shelby County, but I told him, I said, I'm not going out there. 60, 70 mile an hour wind. I'm staying in bed. You know what I mean? And he kills a giant.
I think it just makes them nervous, so they get up and move.
What I've always understood, and again, I'm no expert by far, neither is my dad or anything like that, but I've always was under the impression that if it's windy, they can't hear.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So they don't want to move when they can't hear because they don't know what's going on. So honestly, I wasn't expecting much that day.
Yeah.
And I almost hung it up because it started raining and sleeting and everything. I mean, it was the worst weather imaginable.
So what you're saying, if it wasn't raining, you were getting down?
Actually, it was the wind that was scaring the hell out of me.
Yeah, but the rain was going to keep you in the hut, so you stayed dry.
yeah. And that is the nice thing. Again, I feel a little spoiled, but having that hut, I only have so many days to hunt.
Yeah.
With my job, with my kids and everything, I want to be out there. And again, it's not always about shooting the deer or anything. It's just being out there with your thoughts and all that good stuff.
For sure.
Yeah.
So we've talked. Me and you've talked a few times on Facebook about food plots. So what exactly? I've seen the video of Blaine shooting the one deer out of the food plot and stuff like that. What exactly are you planning in that food plot?
Honestly, we're trying everything. We're in Indiana, so we got ag fields everywhere.
Yep.
We've tried. We first started out with brassica, thinking, hey, let's give them some greens and things like that, stuff that's different than what's in the fields. Little bit of luck there. That's actually the one that you saw the Blaine buck video.
Mm-hmm.
Shooting his. That one was that food plot that year. We tried some clover, some oats. We're really just kind of throwing what's out there and see what sticks, kind of thing.
Yeah. Yep.
We even tried planting a couple food plot trees. Unfortunately, with the drought and everything, they didn't make it. I would have loved to have something established out there. That would have been pretty cool. But
yeah,
we're just really just trying whatever. And again, and I know it sounds a little cheesy, just going out there and working the food plot, just having fun.
That's what I was going to say, Tyler.
That's our gym.
That's you remind me how I do a food plot. Like, I don't know, I'm going to try it and just go have fun.
Yeah.
I don't take it serious enough to see, like, well, I should be using this next year. No, I'm just like, hey, this looks good. Let's try this. And just go have fun with it.
That first year that brassica came up, and it was almost waist high. It was huge. We had meats and everything almost the size of softballs, if not bigger.
Wow.
And I felt like it did nothing. And I just couldn't believe it. And it feels a little bit like a waste. But then again, it's like, we're trying stuff. We're getting out there, having fun, taking the kids out. So that's really what it was about. But it's one of those where we're going out and having fun. And if we can get some benefit from it, from the deer, hey, that's all.
Yep, absolutely.
I feel like a lot of people, that's kind of their mindset when it comes to a food plot. Don't get me wrong. There's some people out there, it's got to be a certain way.
Take it serious.
To take it serious, maybe. But a lot of the times that I've been a part of, it's like, hey, let's try this out and see if it works kind of thing. And sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. Yeah. That's part of it.
I mean, we don't have – I think I would change how I do it if I had the equipment to do it.
Right.
What we're doing is weed killer.
Throw and grow.
And I've raked it. I've bought it. Used a rototiller and did it like a little section myself. But, man, if I had the equipment to really do it, I think I would take it more serious and put stuff out there. It would be so much easier to just jump on a tractor and do it. But I don't have that. So when you're doing it, you can't get too serious because you'll be pissed off that you're only doing a little 40 by 40 section.
We've invested a little bit into it. Really, all we've been doing is just go out there and mow it. We were out there this past weekend with literally just an old junk push mower.
Yeah.
Weed eaters. And then we went out a couple of days and just sprayed some Roundup. And then we don't even know if it's going to work. We're trying it. Hey, what the heck? We got off of Facebook Marketplace, we got one of those ATV little disc things on the back.
Yeah. Hey, I may have been bidding on that one. Did you take that from me?
So we're gonna try that out this year, see if it works.
I bet it'll work. I bet it'll have some luck, man. Because the best time I've ever had luck is I grabbed an old fence line and I put some weight on it and I drug it by hand over the dirt just to get the seed in the ground, and it grew better than I've ever had anything. So I guarantee that thing will do some work for you.
Yeah, even if it just loosens up the soil a little bit, and then maybe we come in with my dad's 4-wheeler and just put a roller on it just to get that seed a little bit.
I bet it'll do the job for you.
Yeah. Like I said, who knows? Might not even do anything, but
damn it, it'll look good.
It looks real good. Yeah.
So you probably don't even want me to mention this the way you talked about it earlier, but you're not exactly using a compound bow. And you've talked about it before too. You're using a crossbow because of an injury you had. Yeah.
So actually, it's partially injury, partial just timing of life. Growing up, we were mainly gun hunters. I got my first shotgun. I think it was a 20 gauge. I still have it in the gun safe behind me.
Sweet.
I hunted with it forever. And my dad and my brother really didn't get into actual bow hunting and like shortly after I left for Purdue. So they had 4 years there where they were doing hunting or bow hunting before the crossbow law came in. Mm-hmm. Then once I graduated from Purdue, started coming back, I got my new job, and this is sad to say, and I still don't know what the hell happened, but my company had a picnic where we're a pretty large engineering company, and they rented out Victory Field.
Nice.
And we could take batting practice. And my wife is down there with me. This is before we had kids and everything, but of course, like the big boys, they use wooden bats, and I don't know what the hell I did. I hit something, and I think I tore a tendon in my left thumb. It's kind of in my thumb / my palm. And I've tried to pull back a bow, and it absolutely hurts. I can't even hold. There's times where if I just hold things, like if I try to grab onto plywood or sheets of drywall or something, just doing this with that thumb, it just kills me. Or even driving home from work today, just hold my steering wheel.
Yeah.
I just hold my thumb a certain way. It just really kills me. But It's partially that. I mean, I'm not going to try to sound like it's all that. But
No, we wouldn't say anything with you
No,
hunting a crossbow. You know what I mean? Like,
Honestly,
I want to know more about it. Hell, I might buy one.
I got a crossbow buck on the wall.
Yeah. But it was partially that, and partially bow hunting is expensive. I mean, you guys know that. You buy the bow,
especially if you're
you
Brett.
get the sight, then you got to get the release, then you got to get this, then you got to get that, and that, and that. And versus a crossbow, where a crossbow, you're ready. You're damn near ready as soon as you get it.
Yep, comes with the sights on it.
Yeah, you're almost good to go. I will say, of course, that it does have it's a lot easier in some cases versus a regular bow. But I will say, bow or crossbow hunting, which I call bow hunting as well, totally different than gun. I don't think some people are out there saying, "Oh, crossbow is a gun." And it's like, I don't know.
It's still got cams and a string on it.
Hey, I always say you try moving an umbrella around. Like, those things are big. They ain't like a gun.
No,
that's extra movement.
Yeah, especially with the rifle law and everything. I mean, I have a rifle that I have now that is 6.5 Creedmoor, and I have some buddies that do long range shooting, and I mean, I can hit 1,000 or 800 yards all day on a target. There's no way in hell I'm doing that with during deer season. But a bow, like, oh my gosh, bow, you're shooting 40 yards, maybe 50 max if you're comfortable. Now, there's times where I stretch it out in my dad's backyard. I've got it out to like 60 or 70 just for shits and giggles. But there's no way I'm doing that. It's just more just see what this thing can do just to have fun.
Yeah, yep,
for sure.
Really, my longest shot with a bow that I would really take is maybe 40, 45 yards, if that.
With a crossbow, yeah.
Yeah, with my crossbow, yeah.
Yep. Nope. Hey, I've hunted with them. I've killed a couple does. My boys have all killed deer with them. I got a buck on the wall with one.
Yeah.
I enjoy it. They're fun. They are fun. I remember when that kid law came out, I was pissed because now all these gun hunters are going to become bow hunters and these damn city slickers. And but I ended up being one of those guys that used it a few times and enjoyed it. And I tell you, you ask a guy that misses a 180 with a bow, I bet he'll tell you, "Damn, I wish I had a crossbow."
Yeah. And it kind of eats me up because I would love to have a deer with everything that I could. A compound bow, crossbow.
Yeah.
I got my muzzle loader. I got my rifle. I've done my shotguns, little 410s. You name it. I'd like to shoot them with as much as I could, but just because of everything that's kind of happened, I'm just comfortable with it. And I think really it all comes down to just the most ethical, humane shot that you can. That's what we should all really be worried about. So.
Yep, true.
For sure. So I'll finish up with this. I've been asking people a lot the past podcasts here recently, but what is your dream hunt that you could go on? If you could pick anything you could go on, what would you do?
Oh, I've been listening to your podcast. I knew this one was coming. Oh man, it's a tough one. It's a very tough one. I haven't done much hunting outside of Indiana or anything. Mainly just the family hunting. I would love to go out to Colorado with the elk and hear that bugle.
Yeah.
My uncle lives out in Black Forest, just right outside of Colorado Springs, and he always keeps telling me, "Hey, come out and hunt." And it's like, man, I got 3 kids. I can't just go. I would love to do that, or maybe like a moose hunt or something like that. But honestly, the one thing I can't wait for is just get out there with the kids, get them when they're actually hunting. I know there's different shows out there, and some people feel different ways with different people. But there's this one episode of McMillan's hunting show where he takes his son, I think his name's Gatlin. He takes him out and he shoots his deer for the first time, and just hearing that, it gets me every time.
I got a couple videos to show you then.
I can't wait for that.
Yeah, absolutely, man. It's like you killing a 180s when you experience that. Like it's unreal. I got my middle boy on video finding his buck. He killed a 130s, and I didn't realize it was that big either. And it was his first stinking deer. And but I had it on video because I seen it like laying dead before he did. So I videoed him following the blood up to it. and it was pretty cool. So I still have that on memory. It was just through my phone. Then me and Brett kind of videoed. My youngest killed a doe. What was it, 2 years ago maybe? Mm-hmm. And I didn't get it on camera, but we got the recovery and the reaction of it because we waited till Brett got there to bring the camera and stuff. And it was pretty cool because he's a city slicker. My youngest is. And it was pretty cool to get his experience and reaction on it, too. So, yeah, those are some cool stuff I'm looking forward to hearing from you about.
And then to follow it up with Caden killing a turkey on film this year, which hasn't been released yet. We'll get to that at some point.
Then my oldest killed his first one, too. And I had a new camera. And I wasn't good. I didn't have it focused, but we got a little bit of it on camera and some pictures of him killing his first one, too, this year. So it's some memories, and I'm excited to hear from you when you experience them.
Yeah. It's one thing to make those memories, but when you have people to share it with, that's what's awesome.
Yep.
For sure. Hey, buddy, I appreciate you coming on with us. It's been a blast to catch up with you and talk some hunting with you, man. Tell everybody where they can find you and your YouTube and all that social media stuff. Put some plugs out there.
Honestly, you probably don't. I don't really have much on there. It's just my name, Tyler Comstock. It's just my personal page. It's really just things I put on there, like I said, to share with family. I got family kind of across the country and things, and I shoot them a quick link, and I don't really have much to share, but
you will in these coming years.
Oh, for sure.
It's fun. Like I said, I like watching things just as much as I like being out there and learning from everybody. That's the key. Learning.
Yeah, right. Awesome.
Well, I appreciate you coming on, buddy. I appreciate everybody for listening. If you're in podcast land, and everybody watching, if you're on the YouTube, but. We'll be back next week with episode 64. Go check out Tyler and his YouTube stuff, and we'll see you back here again next week.
Thanks, Tyler.
Thanks, everybody.